What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. This is Cadman Cycling, back for another race at Crit City. I tried to join a Innsbruck race a few minutes before this and work ran a bit long, so right back at Crit City, favorite place to be. Always find myself back here. This is a Category C race, 15.8 kilometers in the bell lap direction with 136 meters of elevation gain. So it's 8 laps. Each lap will be 2 kilometers. Very big field. So I know in my last video I said it was the biggest field I'd been a part of at Crit City. I believe that field was 51 riders. Today we have 76. It's crazy. I don't know if Zwift is growing or I'm just choosing more popular time slots to be racing now, but this is a huge group of Category C racers for Crit City. So what I want to do, I want to make sure I'm in the front of the race at the start. It's going to be strung out for a while, but it's going to be a fast race. And that's exactly what it was. So without ruining the finish, I wanted to throw up some of the race-winning times from the previous 8-lap Crit City races I've done. The winner of this race finishes with a time of 22 minutes and 4 seconds, much faster than the race I did a couple days ago. The race-winning time was 22 minutes and 37 seconds. And just going kind of down the line of other Crit City races I've done, I had a second place finish at 22 minutes and 51 seconds and a first place finish at Crit City at 22 minutes and 55 seconds. So definitely getting faster. I think part of that was just how large this group was. Not only does a big group move faster, but there's just more capable riders, a lot of better riders. I think as Zwift is growing too, there's just more riders joining, a lot of better bike riders who either have more experience on the road and have picked up Zwift, or riders who have really become more into biking because of Zwift are starting to get stronger. So these races definitely feel faster. And I think that graphic showed that they are getting faster. So this is the fastest one I've done to date, the largest one I've done to date, but makes these really fun. So immediately off the bat, pretty big group. It started strung out, but starting to bunch up a little bit here. But I mean, we still have easily over 30 riders in this front group. It's tough to kind of pick out the best riders in a group like this. Just the overall goal is to stick with the group as much as possible. But I know that Matt Higgins, his name just came up on the screen there, is a very capable rider. I've seen him win before. So he's a guy to watch out for in this race. But like I said, there's just so many riders in this bunch. My strategy is just stay in the middle, hold on as long as I can, because I know it's going to be a fast one. This time through the lap banner, I got a ghost power up. That's not extremely helpful, especially not with a group this big, so I go ahead and use it early. Definitely not trying to make any attacks here on the second lap. Using that ghost power up would just be a waste of energy, so went ahead and used it. I see a lot of people are using those steamrollers on this section. I don't believe the steamroller actually helps you on this section. I think it only helps on the cobbled climbs. A while back, I had kind of that same idea of using the steamroller on this. It looks like a gravel section, but it actually doesn't help. I think a few subscribers pointed that out. So best place to use the steamroller if you get it is always on the cobbles, which at Crit City is only on that climb. So even if it's on the downhill, that's still the best place to use the steamroller. I think pretty much anywhere else here, it's not going to help out. So we already have a rider who's been coned. Second lap is very early for that. As we go down the cobbles, this time around, I'll show the first 2 laps. Then I'll show the final, about 2.5 laps. A lot of times these races stay together as we get kind of strung out down that, I always call it the cobbled climb, but really in the bell lap direction, it's all a downhill. And that's kind of a place where a lot of times, especially with more riders, that's where the attacks start on the final lap. So it's important. There are opportunities where you can coast down that if you put in some effort going into it, and then really put some effort going out of it. But I think the best strategy is just to keep the power up on the way down that hill. Especially, it's kind of interesting because it's not even all the way throughout. There's kind of a section in the middle of that downhill that flattens out a little bit. So if you are trying to coast, that could either stop your super tuck, or it could also just take out all of your speed. So when you hit the downhill and now you haven't pedaled in a few seconds, all the other riders who are pedaling will fly by you. So I've experimented with that a little bit. It's definitely a possibility and a tactic to coast down that and even super tuck to the point where it could work, but I found it's best just to keep pedaling. So just like I said, went ahead, skipped forward. We're now on lap 6. Getting close to starting lap 7, 11 kilometers in. Kind of falling off the back a little bit here, so just came down that cobbled climb again. Some of the other riders were going much faster than me down it, so found myself off the back, but luckily was able to hop back on pretty easily. Just a quick checkpoint. Heart rate's at 193. Legs were feeling all right, but definitely felt the speed. At this point in the race, over halfway through, I could tell that it felt harder than a lot of the other Crit City races. So 4 kilometers left. Goal remains the same. Just stick in the middle of this pack as much as possible. Don't spend time off the front, but with a big group, always be ready to respond to a move, because there are a lot of fast, capable riders here. So I'll do my best to hang on, starting the last 2 laps. There we go with another ghost. Didn't have the best of luck with power-ups this race. Generally, it seems like it's spread pretty even. I tend to get a lot of feathers, but ghosts are definitely not the ones I'm looking for. And I think I got them run 3 or 4 laps in this race. So not very helpful. Because I didn't have a power-up through this section, I see a lot of other riders using their feathers and drafting vans. I did kind of want to make sure I was near the front when I was starting this section, this roller section, just to make sure I didn't get dropped. I know this is a tough section where a lot of riders push hard through it, so without the power up, wanted to make sure I started on the front, and it worked out pretty well. Found myself in the middle of the pack at the end, so again, right where I want to be, but pushing really hard. Like I said, fast pace. And right now I find myself in a situation I don't want to be in. I was kind of hanging off the back there going into this downhill section. So as the group is starting to speed up and gain that speed, hanging off the back, a tough place to be. So kind of pounded the pedals at the bottom there up to 350 watts for a little bit, just to put in an effort to make sure I didn't get dropped. As we see, it's starting to get strung out off the front too. But it's efforts like that just start to kind of wear on you throughout races. Even if at the time it may not hurt. This one definitely hurt because it was later in the race, but even if it was lap 2, it's stuff like that can make the difference in the end. And ultimately that effort really did hurt me. So I was hanging off the back, had to put in a tough effort just to make sure I didn't get dropped. Got to the middle, but again, legs are hurting and I find myself off the back again. Heart rate's high, legs are hurting. The group is starting to get off into the distance and makes this gap. My power's low, legs are hurting, and honestly, this is kind of everything I had. So just going through the lap banner for the final time. We have about 2 kilometers left, but this is the point where the group kind of leaves me. So I'm in 22nd place. So that means there's about, it looks like 19 riders in that front group. Actually 18. Looks like there's 3 others in front of me that got lost. I have the drafting van. So again, still gonna see how I can finish with these other riders. Gonna catch my breath a little bit, see if I can get some legs for the finish. So that large front group, I think on the first or second lap was around 35. Ultimately about 15 got dropped before the last lap. Looks like that front group kind of ended with 20 for the final sprint, which that's still a large group, but for starting 76, that was a fast race. They dropped most everyone. So I just passed a few of the other riders. One guy here tries to catch on with just under a mile left. I'll go ahead and skip forward. So I see 2 riders behind me, kind of slow pedaling, and everyone behind me was too. There's no one in front of me that I can catch right now, so I'm kind of just looking at that top right screen, trying to track the other riders behind me. I've had a second on this last lap to really catch my breath and have enough for the final sprint, more than I'd have if I was still in that front group for this final lap. I really do slow it down quite a bit. I see it almost looks like a bunch of 4 or 5 riders now coming up on me. But one of them was pushing really hard, and I didn't realize that at the time. Luckily, here I'm starting my sprint from 220 meters out about, but Lane comes flying by me. So luckily, I really wasn't expecting him, but I was starting my sprint anyway, so I'm able to put some power on the pedals and pass him. But overall, another fun race. Man, this was the biggest one I've seen. Biggest field turned into the fastest race. Zwift is getting more competitive, and I got to start stepping up if I want to win these races. So guys, thanks for watching. If you like these videos, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below the video. It really helps me out, just trying to build this audience, build the game of Zwift. So appreciate you being here, and until next time, this is Cadman Cycling. Bye.